Okay, guys, welcome back to this episode with Rep Tyler. Tata, you're gonna start with the next question, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Oftentimes I tell people that I don't want to work with anyone who's never played a sport
Right.
because people don't know how to be on a team.
Yes.
Um, you're big on sports.
Yes.
What role has sports played in your life?
As a sports player, for a long time, prior to, getting into adulthood, I would
Hmm.
definitely say the one guard. That's what I played. You know that
Yeah, yeah.
about me. So there was that. I'm a very strong leader. I
That's
have
what's
some
up.
amazing ideas. I'm a visionary. I'm a humanitarian. So
Mm.
I'm a visionary. That's just naturally my role.
Hmm.
I'm very supportive as well. So, the point guard also, too, gets the ball to people. I'm not necessarily worried about scoring.
Hmm.
I'm trying to build other people up. So I would definitely say the one
Ooh.
guard. But into my adulthood, I would definitely, move that over into coaching. I'm really into, again, empowering people. I have a lot of mentees. So if y'all don't have a mentee, make sure y'all get y'all a mentee.
Okay.
Because what we're doing right now is all building legacy, building our
Right.
legacy. And you cannot do that without making sure that your bench is a strong bench. So I definitely
Mm.
would say coaching more than anything.
You're coaching now.
I'm not coaching now. No, I mean, I'm a parent, so I think I'm
Oh
a coach.
yeah, yeah. That
You a
makes
coach,
sense.
Yeah.
you a
Or
teacher,
I'm a
you a
referee,
every
all
all
that
that,
stuff, So
all that.
I'm not coaching right now, but I do aspire to get into coaching some little leagues in the near future.
Hmm.
But my daughter just started playing sports, so AAU is a little bit different than it's different than soccer. We used to play soccer, and it's just you show up twice a week, you sit there. But AAU is like
Wait, what's AAU?
it's a little bit more of like a up like fast paced, business oriented basketball like industry for
Okay.
kids that are interested in sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang, so it's that being a leader is kind of like in your DNA. That's why we got to get you that birth chart.
Yeah,
We're gonna tell you everything.
I'm down.
It would be absolutely because the thing is we already know ourselves and we already know what we're capable of, but when we see it from a cosmic point of view, from a source that's been here even before we ever even been thought of,
Right.
is it makes you just trust yourself and trust your path and trust your overall energy that much more. As a
Right.
business person, I'm a one thing that people really don't talk about in leadership and in business is trusting your intuition.
Right. Trust yourself, because you're gonna be
Trust
like,
yourself.
I should listen to
I
myself.
should listen to
How many times is
you
that,
all
y'all? Like, all
right.
the time,
You
right? But
always do that.
again, you gotta just go with your trust yourself, because
Yes.
you make the best decisions for you.
Right. We
So
know ourselves.
yeah.
Has there ever been a time in your political career where you did something you're like, dang, I knew I should have trusted myself? Tell it now.
Um, there's been many times where I kind of was in that space, but it's all about how you respond to it, right?
Right.
If you just keep on
Totally.
making the same mistake over and over again and you're not learning from it, then there's that. But you have to kind of fall,
Yep.
because again, for myself, I don't know very many black folks in politics, so it's like
Me neither.
it's kind of like you're blazing the trail type of things. And so I hope
Mm.
that folks really learn from my experience and learn from my mistakes, and people that come behind me, the next rep, the next senator, whatever,
Right.
in my role, hopefully they take it and they run with it, and they don't take a long time to be able to turn things around.
Right. Right.
So.
Right.
Paving the way.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah,
exactly.
you're literally like a pioneer. I
Like
have
that.
I listened to one of my favorite he you said something about a mentee. I I've never met this man before in my life, but he's my mentor.
Who is it?
His name is Les Brown. You ever
Les
heard
Brown?
of
I
him?
haven't heard of him. No.
I found him.
Oh, that's cool.
We found each other 4 years ago, back in
Okay.
2018, and I love his story. I'm big on stories, and I really just like fell in love with his story. And he basically had started out kind of like this, a radio host,
Oh, dope.
back in Liberty City, Florida,
Okay.
and he ended up getting fired.
Wow.
And from him being fired, he said he loved his job so much he petitioned to get the job back.
Uh-uh.
So God pushed him, and he was like, "Nah, I got to go back to this job. You ain't supposed to be there no more."
Right.
So he left, and he ended up running for senator.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't
In
remember if it
Florida?
was in Ohio or Florida. It was
Okay.
one of the two. I can't remember, but he won, and like
Oh, wow.
you, he
Shout out
was
to him.
doing his thing, right? Passing bills, just uplifting people. And since then, after that, he became a motivational speaker, and that's how I found him.
Wow.
Which telling that story of him being a radio host to being a senator to being a motivational speaker, which was what he wanted to do overall. But after just you being a humanitarian and doing so much great things for your community, what do you see yourself doing after politics?
That's like the $1 million question.
Right?
Well, honestly, I try not to think too much about what the future is going to bring because you can't control the future. You can't control the past. You can't change the past.
Right.
But one thing I will tell you about myself is that every day I wake up and I work my behind off to make sure that tomorrow is a little bit easier for me, my family, and whoever it is that I'm trying to, build for.
Right.
So whatever it comes to me, if it's the right decision, I'm definitely going to trust myself and
Trust
take
yourself.
it or whatever. But
Trust
building
yourself.
every day is very, very important. And
Right.
I really value the opportunity to be able to wake up every day to have another opportunity to build stronger and be stronger. And so this is my third term. So I've been a rep since I was 26. This is the sixth year doing it. And I'm just building, and I'm very grateful to continue to be able to do that.
Did you ever see yourself going term after term after term, or was it just kind of one of those things, I'm just going to see how this goes?
Oh, yeah, I work really, really hard. Every term is another opportunity to be able to pass more reforms and more bills. And so I look forward to the next term,
You
honestly.
do?
Yeah,
That's
I
beautiful.
do. Yeah.
That's good.
Gun violence has played. So you talked about how gun violence has played a role in your life. I know I almost been a victim of gun violence a few times.
Sorry.
It happens. But what are things that are in the work to like minimize gun violence in the city?
Right. So gun violence is a very sensitive topic for many people because it affects many of us in many
Traumatic.
different ways.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of guns out there on the streets, illegal guns. So the first with this conversation, I want to start off by saying, if you're a licensed gun owner, that's one thing. As long as you're responsible, you're all good. But once you're irresponsible with a gun, or you're a non-licensed, you don't have a license and you have a gun, now you have a problem with
Right.
Representative Tyler. And that's where the issue
Right.
becomes. And so to try to push back on that, or try to solve some of the issues with the gun flow here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I actually have a bill to be able to combat that. And the bill is called An Act Relative to Stopping the Interstate Trafficking of Illegal Firearms. And so you guys know for a long time Smith & Wesson was here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a gun manufacturer out in Springfield. And we have a big issue with a lot of guns, just kind of illegal guns, being in a rotation here in the Commonwealth. What
Wow.
the
I
narrative
didn't know
out there
that.
is, what the world will tell you is that there's this thing called the Iron Pipeline, where Massachusetts gives guns to New York, and New York and then exchange sends drugs up here. That's why we have a really bad drug issue. But then I just want to shine a light on that. We have a interstate in our own state issue of guns flowing that are manufactured here. And so to be able to combat that, first of all, we need to study and make sure that we know what the issues are, but more importantly, the access to illegal firearms is the issue. So right now, they have like what can I equate it to? They have something like an Amazon for gun parts that you can go on and you can buy. So say there's 15 parts to a gun, right? For example, you can go on this Amazon website and buy every single part of those 15 pieces and send them to your home on 123 Blue Hill Ave,
Right.
and then you put it together and it becomes a gun. But they're able to, without a license, and you're able to do that because when you purchase the individual part, it wasn't considered an actual gun
Right.
until you put it together. And folks are doing that right now, and that's a big thing.
Wow.
They're called ghost guns. And we're trying to
that's
combat
crazy.
that. And so hopefully that bill passes, or we do something about gun violence, because in the world, when we hear that narrative, it's about mass shootings, school shootings, but in the hood, it's person-to-person violence. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And so that access to the illegal firearms is we're trying to push back on that. But I did also too want to give a shout out to a lot of folks that are making sure that folks that do have their licenses remain responsible. There's Dawn Firearms out there. There's Hedge Protection. There's True Craft. Shout out to all the folks that are out there making sure that folks that do have their licenses, that they're responsible in doing so, and they're doing an amazing job. In fact, speaking of Black women, I know you start off with that. Black folks have been receiving a gun license. The number had increased over the last couple of years by 400%. So if you're interested, shoot your shot, see what you get.
How were you guys combating ghost guns? Was it like banning Amazon from selling parts, or?
So that's what the bill that I wrote tries to aspire to do, to try to get guns and gun parts out of the hands of folks that don't have licenses and shouldn't have them in the first place. But let's take a step back now. No one ever picks up a gun because they think it's cool.
Right.
I mean, I'm quite sure there's a little bit of people that, but violence and gun violence is a survival tactic.
Yeah.
Right.
If I can't
Right.
get that, if I go to a terrible school, we just talked about schools. If I go to a terrible school or I don't have access to opportunity here in Boston, then I'm gonna go take it. And how am I going to take it with a firearm? And so it's kind of a different narrative for me anyways. And so we try to do whatever we can inspire the youth to make sure that they don't choose to pick up a gun to then go, off on the wrong track.
Right.
So
I ain't know nothing. I don't know nothing about a gun. I ain't know nothing about a ghost gun. I ain't know nothing about an iron pipeline. But
Yeah, I feel bad that we kind of like put that information about how to make a gun.
I mean, if you go look for it, you're gonna find it anyways.
Yeah.
You're gonna find it, and people are going to go look, or
Yeah,
people are looking for
there's
it.
a lot going on
You
out
know,
here.
Boston is a trip.
Because they didn't have access to opportunity for them to get paid, a decent amount to be able to live in Boston. So they're going to go and take it. And that's the reason why folks,
So it's like a
get
domino
violence.
effect
It is.
almost.
It is.
Literally.
Yep.
But do you feel like it all starts with education?
Or
money?
Yes. It all starts to education.
Yeah.
The moment that one of our scholars are not inspired by what's going on in school, which is your only job, your parents told you got one job.
That's right.
job.
Bring them A's back home,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Once our youth aren't inspired or they don't feel confident to be able that they can excel in school, then that's when they start looking for other things to do, and that's when the domino starts falling.
They get bored almost.
They get bored, and it's kind of our school system, for example, not necessarily our charter schools, I will say that, but like
Charter schools?
some of our other types of schools are set up for our kids to fail. So for example, I'll give you some statistics for the Boston Public Schools, right? The Boston Public Schools is predominantly kids of color, maybe 80%, 85% kids of color, Black and Latino to be very specific, right? But 85% of the teacher body are white women. So there's a disconnect there, right? So we got to do what we can to make sure that more teachers of color in our schools, inspiring our kids. And so this year, we hope to be able to invest with the education committee. And I also want to give a shout out to Chairwoman Peisch because she is a great education chair. We can invest in our schools to be able to have more pipelines for teachers of color. But those things are hard to be able to do as a former teacher because, you got real issues like student loans, all those things. And so to actually become a teacher, it's almost impossible to be able to do that. But we're making it possible for a lot of folks.
Right.
Which my middle sister, she had left PHA the charter school and went to a BPS, and she was a straight A student, and she said like almost instantly, like spending like 2 weeks there, she like lost morale. Like she was like, oh, well, if nobody cares, then I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until she left that school, and then like she went to another private school, but it was instant. Like she was going here, she went to Boston Public School, and just like whoosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real reality. I had that experience too. I left the charter school in 8th grade, and I went to a public school it didn't last that long.
It didn't last long.
I was like getting all A's and barely showing up type of thing. So yeah.
Oh, that's how you know something is wrong.
Yeah, I was like, why are you home? Like, don't worry about it, sis. Got all A's.
Rob Tyler, I watched the interview you did a couple years ago, and
Which interview was this? I want to know which interview this was.
I can't even remember the name of it, but I remember you talking about giving people personal tours at the State House.
Yeah.
You still do that?
When you coming? When y'all coming?
Okay, let's set it up.
It's your house. Listen, y'all tax dollars paid
you
for
give
the State
the
House.
personal tours.
I will give you a tour. I do it all the time. I just
Period.
actually had the pleasure of hosting some youth a couple of days ago with Youth Leading the Way. They came to the State House and we took them on a tour. They sat in my seat. I really want youth to be able to feel what it feels like to be me so they can really see themselves there.
Right.
Yeah.
Before I served, I worked in State House for a little while, but I'd never been there before. I thought you had to pay to get in,
Yeah.
but it's free.
They know nothing about it,
I was
huh?
gonna say, I was like, wait, do you have to pay?
Where is the State House?
The State House is located at 24 Beacon Street, right downtown Boston, right on like the far upper side of the Boston Common.
I think
It's the
that's close
building
to
with
where
the
I
gold dome.
live.
Yeah.
I literally live like a 8-minute walk from there.
Okay. Come
8-minute walk. I'm definitely going to come by
You're
because
always
I'm
welcome to.
huge on education.
Yes,
And
you're always welcome to.
I want my son. I don't care if he's 1 year old. He'll be 2 this year. But I'm so big on education.
He's welcome to come anytime.
I would love to take him. Say no more.
Yeah.
Say no more.
I would love to see
Okay.
more people that look like us in the building.
We gotta take a field trip, y'all. Show and
that's
tell field
important
trip.
because it's hard to envision yourself in a position if you don't like.
If you can't fathom it,
Yeah.
Right.
touch it,
You don't know nobody
it's not
there or
tangible.
nothing.
Exactly.
Right.
So come anytime.
Right.
What else have you been doing with the youth? Do you usually go out and like do a lot of youth work?
Yeah, youth work is like what I love to do outside of, when I'm out of the building, really focusing on, people that are very vulnerable for a lot of times in my district.
Yeah.
It's a lot of seniors and youth.
Yeah.
So, for example, in the summertime, I take kids on college tours.
Oh, nice.
So we go everywhere. We've been everywhere. We've traveled as far as Pennsylvania. We went to visit Temple. We went to Harvard. Went to Northeastern. We go everywhere. And for me, again, it's about college preparedness. I went to a lot of schools that prepare you for college. And even if the child doesn't want to go to college, it's just being able to see what life is like. There is life after you graduate high school.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And being with your state rep and being with someone that's from your neighborhood that may have went to Northeastern or whatever school to be able to give you that tour, not just a kind of bland, just boring tour. To like, this is this building, this is that building. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be here, you need to be able to achieve this, and this is how you do it, type of thing. And so, I do a lot of that stuff. I have ton of mentees. So shout out to all my mentees. I know they're going to be listening and watching. So there's that. What else? What other youth-oriented things do I do? Obviously, back to school events, making sure that our students are prepared to go back to school. It may sound really small, but as a parent, that stuff adds up, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever I could do to support that, like, I'm all about it. I do a ton of things with the youth. I have an annual teen summit where we have different different entrepreneurs come and do like a small panel to just kind of introduce youth to how to start your own business.
Yeah.
So that's really important.
Yes, so
We
important.
do many things and endless things when it comes to like youth and young adults. And so whatever I could do to be supportive, I'm all about it because, again, traditionally as, people of color, black folks, like, we don't have that access.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to open up that access for our youth.
For parents who say they want to get their children involved with you and what you're doing, how would they find
Reach
that?
out, 617-942-1213. They could just call.
You ain't playing.
Yeah.
You can. They can really talk to you and do what they.
I love to talk. I'm an introvert, but I love to talk.
That's how I am too.
Yeah,
I'm an
yeah.
introvert, but
Don't start me talking.
I don't mind
I'm already
talking.
talking, yeah.
I'll talk.
Yeah.
I'll talk.
I have this like running thing on this thing where I don't think a lot of people are introverts.
Oh my God! Don't
yeah.
get
But we're not gonna get
Don't
into
even
that.
start.
We're
Yeah,
not gonna get into that.
it's a real thing. Yeah, it's
a
hard.
real
It's
thing.
hard. It's hard. But once I'm in there, I'm not stopping.
I got
Yeah.
you.
So just getting the support to start talking.
That's right. You gotta get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Motherhood, you have an 11-year-old?
Yes, my daughter Kaylin. She's 11.
Hey,
She's amazing.
Kaylin.
Hi, Kay.
How has motherhood played a role in like the way you make decisions or the way that you live?
Ooh, good
That's
question.
a really great question, and I really do enjoy being a mom. Been a mom since I've been a parent since I was 19 years old. I actually had my daughter when I was a junior in college, and so she's always been a part of my journey and a part of my life. And so my daughter is real authentic. She's real raw. She spends a lot of time with my mother. My mother's very helpful and, helping me. This job is very busy, so you need someone to help with
I
your
can
children. And who
imagine.
else, than your parents, someone really close to you.
Right.
And so she's just like my mom, really just like raw and authentic. She's going to say what she needs to say.
wow,
And so
yeah.
Right.
a lot of the times I share with her about what's going on, and she gives me like amazing feedback. She grew up in the State House pretty much. They all know her there. And so she,
dope.
Nice.
she used to ride her scooter around, but I didn't have a babysitter. So like I had
Right,
to bring
gotta
my
do what you
kids,
gotta
know
do.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, can
That's
somebody
right.
help me type of thing. So it's been
what's
an
up.
amazing journey. And when it comes to also to parenting, there are a lot of other reps that are parents as well. And, dads, moms, aunties, whatever it is. And a lot of folks like, family is really big. And this job is like a 24/7 type style job. And so we really do support each other. We go to each other's birthday parties, things like that. We try to do whatever we can to support family because all of us have kids. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. That's like a testament because I know like when sometimes when people have children at an early age, they think like things are like over. But
Right,
you're a
life is
testament
over.
to like
Yeah.
you're a testament that if you fight and you
Just
strive,
bring your kid with you.
Right.
yeah.
Bring your kid with you. I changed my office around so it's kid friendly. Brought a TV there. As long as my daughter has an Xbox, everything is all
Whoa,
well.
she's
a
with the
gamer?
Xbox. Yeah, she's a gamer. Yeah,
Kaylin!
she's a gamer. She likes to draw anime gamer
Oh,
type
nice.
of. She's a creative type of thing or whatever. So
She watching that
Yeah.
Naruto.
Yeah. To do the East ramen noodles. Yeah, that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that
done.
situation, yeah. So she's like, oh, I want to eat noodles like Naruto. I'm like, hold on, this is a black thing. He didn't start that. Let me just let you know what it
Yeah.
is. So
We've been eating
Absolutely.
noodles.
not by choice, right?
That part,
Yeah,
not
no
by
choice,
choice.
type of thing. So yeah, she's a great kid, and I'm really blessed to be able to be her mom.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
so sweet.
I should have brought her.
You should have bought. I should have bought Kasim. No, he
Next time we
wouldn't have
will. Next time.
Right, we'll
Next
have a
time.
meeting. That would be
something
perfect.
Will be broken in here. It might have,
Makes
fallen
sense.
over or something, But it's all good.
All right. Rep Tyler, what is like? Because I know it's hard being a parent and having a job. Like what are some trials and tribulations that you've faced being a politician, like, and being a mom, especially being a college mom?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that story a little bit, and I'll tell you,
Okay.
answer it when it comes to work. So, I went to Northeastern University. I went on a scholarship, academic scholarship. I was a torch scholar, and it's an academic scholarship. Like, you better get X
Right.
GPA so
Right.
that you can continue to get this free funding. And my family, I don't come from a wealthy family, very humble beginnings. You know what I'm saying? So, when I had my daughter, when I was a junior in college, like, the confidence when it came to my success kind of went a little bit low when it came to the adults in the space of that scholarship area, because they like, yeah, you just had a kid, like,
Right.
but I'm like, listen, like, my mother used to bring us to college, so
Right.
like, I don't understand what the deal is. So I brought my daughter to school, was able to finish early, not even on time. I finished early and was able to move on with my life. And so fast forward, when it comes to work and just being a parent and trials and tribulations you deal with as a parent, like, a lot of it is around age, and being a young person, and also too doing it. But honestly, like, you just gotta just do it, like, get it done. Like, don't be complaining and all that. Nobody wants to hear you complain. Just get it done. Because at the end of the day, like, this is a career for me. This is what I do. It's not a job. This is not a thing that I hate to go do. I love doing what I do. And so just get it done. I bring my daughter with me. Just bring the book bag and put the Xbox in the back, plug it up. She's good.
Oh, nice. Xbox at the State House?
Yeah. She's good. Listen, I literally have an Xbox in my office. My daughter
Nice.
comes, so she needs something to do. So,
And after a while, they get used to the routine too.
Yeah, they know. She goes to the bathroom. She goes in the building. She knows. She could give you a tour.
Okay.
She knows what's going on. So
That
yeah,
makes sense.
keep the kids happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever you have to do to keep your kids happy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that we had this interview. I'm very, very,
Yeah,
very
thank you for having me.
inspired.
I love y'all.
I'm so inspired. We love you.
I
I
appreciate
can't
y'all.
speak for them, but I love you. Okay.
I love you too.
Yeah, love y'all. I love y'all. I love you, Tata. I really appreciate being here, and I really do wish the podcast very well. I hope that you have this platform grows to be able to reach the fullest trajectory it could possibly go, and that folks really learn something from it. You guys ask some amazing questions.
Thank you.
And I hope that folks learn things, and if they have follow-up questions or whatever, they want to reach out. 942-1213. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. You probably be answered the phone by Jalil or Corey. I want to shout out my staff, Jalil and Corey. Shout out to them. If I don't try to answer, but we're always happy to be able to field any questions that you have, because again, this is about us and empowering us, and we're on the move. We're doing some amazing things. We're changing the narrative for sure.
Right.
And so this podcast is a part of that, that new wave. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
And was there any social media that you want to plug in or anything?
Yes, you just look me up, Chynah, CHYNAH, Tyler, TYLER, and you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, not necessarily Twitter, just being culturally sensitive. I try to get on Twitter, but it's just not really my thing.
Yeah, I
don't
can't
like
do
that.
it either.
I got in trouble on Twitter a couple times, so
Yeah,
I just went back to Instagram and Facebook where I'm welcome now.
Right.
So yeah, you
Right.
can reach out anytime and follow my work, and I would definitely be very grateful if folks will follow, but not also to follow, but share feedback with me. I want to be able to be my best self, and be the best rep for y'all. So if you see anything that you would change, or you have an idea, please let me know, and we'll make sure we make it happen.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And that's a wrap.
Later, guys.